Hi, everyone, and welcome to this particular case study where we are looking at some data related to Harry Potter, the book series. And the author has created certain characters within Harry Potter and written some stuff about the characters. Now, we really don't know what, but it's all stored in Harry Potter data.csv. So the first step is we import the data, and you will remember that Pandas is the most important database library that exists in Python. So we say import pandas as PD, and we will import in the CSV, right? So the command over here is PD read underscore CSV, and what we get is the Harry Potter data. Now, we really don't know how the data looks, so what we want to do is to do ahead and see what is this data looking like. So here you go. We can see multiple things in the data: name, species, gender, house, date of birth, year of birth, ancestry, eye color, hair color, wand. So quite a lot of information exists in this data. And this data has multiple columns, and so I have just moved the columns for us to see a bit more. The actor who played it, is this person alive in the series, the image of the person, all of it is existing in the data. Now, one thing that we really would want to do is to quickly understand how my data looks, and how many rows, how many columns, what are the names of the columns in the correct sequence, how many missing values in each column, and what is the data type: object or character, float or decimal, Boolean, for each of the columns, right? So this is one simple thing: print Harry Potter info. Could we have got the same outcome without print also? Yes, we can. So we know that the default is to use print whenever you're coding. And therefore, we go through it and see that there are actually 16 columns. So column numbers start from 0 to 15, that is 16 columns. And other than the year of birth, everything else is looking like a object. And there are a couple of Boolean values, that is true or false: Hogwarts student, Hogwarts staff. Okay, this is something that we can see. Now we know that we always follow the Dekova and I process. It's a great roadmap to trying to solve for anything, and therefore when we look at the Dekova and I process here, we have to do an exploratory data analysis. We don't know much about the data except the fact that there are 16 columns, 25 rows of data, and it has information about the characters in the book plus the actor who plays the character. Okay. In the collect stage, there is no other file, so there is no merging or appending the data. And when we are doing the outliers, we need to check for missing values. When we are doing the organize, we need to check for missing values, outliers, dummy variables, and derived variables. Visualization is graphs and charts. Analysis is descriptive statistics, and insights is finally what we gain out of it. Now, what if I can tell you that there is some way that we can actually do a lot of the organize and visualize all at once? Will that make you happy? Well, it certainly made me happy. So before we can go there, we have to still do some understanding of the missing value. And what we do here is to fill the missing value with blank. Okay, so we say fill any, and you can see we put in place true, fill it with a blank, and then we have looked at the data. So here you go. Once we have filled it, everything is showing not null. Okay, and the data is as it was earlier, except that all the NAs or the absolute blanks have actually been replaced with a blank. Okay. Now, as I mentioned to you, the whole of the other organize and the visualize can be done through a library called SweetViz. And here what we want to do is to change any of the characters. So we saw that the year of birth was showing up as a float, but everything else was showing as an object. And what we want to do is we want to actually convert the year of birth as a string. Okay, so that we are able to do certain visualizations later on. So we do that, convert it to a string, and then we just use SweetWiz analyze to create a report on the organize and visualize part of it. So let's look at the report here. You can see the report is show HTML Harry report. Okay, so here is Harry report. Um, you can see the columns, and for each column it is telling us how many missing values, what are the most common values for that column, and the like, right? uh, so we can actually any part that we click on, it gets blown up over here, and you can see all the information about it. You can actually understand what are the informations over here for that variable. If you want to go back, we can go back and scroll through it one by one. Okay, here, as I said, if you were to choose house, then you come this side and you can actually see further details of the houses. Now, if there are four houses, Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff, and what is this? This is the missing value, right? So there is a missing value to the tune of three values, which is 12% of this data. Okay. So we can go ahead and see any outliers, any missing values, any type of visualization that we want all at once. So more than writing code, what is the most important thing we'll do? We'll actually be looking at the code and coming up with the insights. Okay. Now, we want to divide the data into two files, Hogwarts student and Hogwarts staff, and do a comparison using SweetWiz again. So what is the way to do it? We have seen that we have a different column called Hogwarts students and a different column called Hogwarts staff. So what we, so I'm sorry, so I just give 2 minutes for you to look at it. Well, we create a Hogwarts student data frame where Hogwarts student is true. And then we create a Hogwarts staff data frame where Hogwarts staff is true. And then let's look at this data, both these data frames. So when we look at it, we find that there is a set of data which is Hogwarts student data. And in Hogwarts student data, here you go, you can see Hogwarts student true, Hogwarts staff false, right? Okay. But if we go to Hogwarts staff data, we will see just the reverse. Hogwarts staff is true and Hogwarts student is false. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we actually want to generate the report and see how both of these differ. So we use exactly the same code, just modify the name of the files so it's easy for us to see. We can see that in Hogwarts student we have 11 rows of data, while in Hogwarts staff we have 8 rows of data. And we can see the names, the species, gender, house, etc. And so also here, the name, species, gender, house, etc. Here you will find interesting the species is showing human, half giant, werewolf, and cat, while here the species is showing 100% only human. So all the students are humans, but not all the staff are human. Okay, so here you get species is only one human, while there we had seen that species are multiple, right? So go ahead and write down what are your insights out of both these reports, and we'll meet up in class. Bye.